Welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast. I am your host, Fredo.
I'm your co-host, Mo Money.
And I'm your co-host, Kobe the Cobra Turner.
Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. They messed up. They're not the co-host. They're the host. So we apologize for that. It's miscommunication. We're all hosts at the end of the day. I'm sorry about that. What's wrong with y'all, man?
Hey, look, man, it's hump day. I don't know. You know
there it is, man. How you guys doing, bros?
We doing I'm well, man.
All right, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. So look here, man. Let's go ahead. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's go ahead and do this week 4 NFL recap. Okay, stock up, stock down. Talk to me, Kobe. Who you got?
As far as stock up and stock down?
Yes, sir.
Stock up. I'm gonna start with the Jets. You know, they've been very impressive. You know, that's a team that nobody expected to really do anything this season, but they're proving a lot of doubters wrong. And I've watched at least 2 of their games.
What's up, Marcus Elliott?
Yes, sir. I watched at least 2 of their games, and they've been impressive. I like what the coach is doing out there. I like the way their defense is flying around. And they really hitting out there. Like their defense, they try and take your head off. I love it. They bringing that old school brand of football back. Also, 49ers, I say their stock is up. I think a little dose of Garoppolo is what they needed. You know what I mean? Garoppolo's not the greatest quarterback in the NFL, but I think he is the best quarterback for them. You know what I mean? He knows that team trusts him, and it just seems like all they do is win when he's at quarterback for him. Yeah. Also, the Jaguars. Now I know their record. I know their record isn't that great, but compared to what they looked like last year to what they're doing this year, I'm liking what they're doing out there, and they look like they got them a top flight quarterback for years to come. Yeah. Philly, they already been up, but they still, I mean, it's like every week I watch them, they even more impressive. More impressive than the week before. I hate to say it, I don't know if I can fix my mouth to say it, but it's a team that plays out of the state of Texas, right? You know what I mean? Hey, look, their starting quarterback, Dak Prescott, went out, and nobody expected him to do anything after that. Their backup came in there and really held down the fort. Their defense is as good as any defense that I've seen this season so far, and I think they just going to get better.
Hey, Kobe. Yeah, we just got a comment, right? Fredo said, "That's my cousin." He said, "Philly is fool's gold." What y'all think, man?
I think that comment is fool's gold.
There it is, right there.
yeah. Philly the real deal. And then my last team that my stock is going up is the Giants. Another team that nobody expected to do anything. They got their running back. He looking like a young OJ out there. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, look, with that running game they have is really taking a lot of pressure off their quarterback. They playing solid defense. They're going to be a team that you're going to really have to show up to play if you want to beat them. Far as stock down, the Broncos, you know, Wilson, I'm pretty sure he wish he didn't make that decision to go to Denver because it is not working out right now. It is not. And I think that he got a little piece of humble pie too, because I've never been high on Russell Wilson. I always thought that they gave him a little bit more than what he should have. You know, he played on a team that had great weapons and just an outstanding defense, one of the all-time great defenses in NFL history, and they got wins that way. But, of course, they wanted to give Russell all the credit. The Raiders, I'm so disappointed in them. You know, I know they won last week, but their stock is way down. I mean, I expected them to be a one-loss team at this point of the season, and right now they're not doing anything. I'm sorry, Fred, but Washington.
It's okay, bro. I feel you. Go ahead.
They terrible. I mean, I watch them on TV. I can smell them through the TV. It's medicinal. You know what I mean? That's what I'm smelling when I'm watching that team play. I mean, I'm so disappointed in them because I know a lot of people expected them to be better in the NFC East than what they are now. The Rams, you know, I don't know if it's a Super Bowl hangover or whatever the case may be, but when I watch them, they're not impressive and they don't look like a team that's going to be there at the end. They just don't. Unless they get a hell of a free agent or a nice trade during the middle of the season. ODB, if Odell Beckham, if he doesn't come back, you know, they need another weapon on the perimeter. They really do. Yeah. And then last stock down is the Steelers. They just they
okay now. I know.
Yeah. They're another team that's just stinking up the field.
Their quarterback was terrible.
Yeah, and you know, I expected more from him because he
been terrible.
He been terrible.
But with him, he showed flashes when he was in Chicago. He showed flashes because I'm just going by what
he made the playoffs 2 out of 4 years.
And I'm just going by what Pittsburgh had at quarterback for the last few seasons. I thought he would be a step up, and Pittsburgh was competitive the last few seasons with the quarterbacks they have. So I figure, you know, plug in Trubisky in there. Yeah, I thought that, you know, that would help them get over the hump. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my stock up, stock down.
Hold on, Mo, before you say something. Big time 27 said Washington's the bad new Bears of football.
Yes, they are.
Hey, bro. As much as it hurt me to agree with you, I gotta say I must agree at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm glad I jumped off that ship.
Yes, man.
Hey, that thing like the Titanic, boy. I'm telling you, boy. Yeah. Hey, you don't want to be nowhere next to that.
Nah, you don't, bro. It's bad.
Hell no.
It's bad.
So I'm gonna do mine a little different. Instead of teams, I'm gonna go a couple position groups and stock up, stock down. I'll start with the down first. So stock down is the Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line. It's probably right there with the Commanders, probably the worst in football. Right. And I think the Commanders are a little better than Pittsburgh, but they haven't drafted an offensive lineman since 2015. So it's been 7 years since they drafted the offensive line, and you can tell. It's pretty bad. So I don't care who they put at quarterback. They could put Mike Vick back there, and he gonna get towed up because it's that bad. I looked at Kenny Pickett. Every other pass, he was getting hit in the throat, and he wasn't holding on to the ball either. He was throwing to Najee Harris, to the tight end Fairmouth, and he still was getting hit.
Right.
The next stock down, man, that boy William Jackson. Ooh, boy.
I've been saying it, Mo. Thank you, Mo. I've been saying it.
The boy, I'm gonna say it in this preference. You know, I hate calling any professional athlete trash because they got to that level, they put that work in.
Yes,
but against other pros, he is garbage.
What?
Well, man, he don't know where the ball at, and then his it's like go-to move is to grab the wide receiver. So even if he's not beat, he's still gonna grab the goddamn wide receiver and give us a good old PI. So it was
Mo,
bad.
let me tell you this, Mo. He can't cover man to man. Even when they play cover two, he can't even cover his zone. No. That's how bad it is at this point.
I think it's a confidence issue because I saw a couple times in zone coverage in particular where he should have rolled the wide receiver into the next phase of the zone, and he just stopped and looked at it and was like, where you at, safety? if Cooper Rush would have connected with a couple more, like if you go back and look at the all 22, especially on that right side with Noah Brown, and it would have been bad for y'all because Noah Brown was finding the hole in the zone.
Yes.
But Cooper Rush just wasn't looking that way, or he went CD Lamb or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the last group that stock down for me is the Miami Dolphins medical staff. Like,
yeah.
You know, like that's. Bro. I know we're gonna talk about it.
Bro, go ahead now. Yeah,
but we can't do that in professional sports. We know all athletes want to get back on the field because that's what you train for. You don't put all that work in to hold the helmet or hold the sideline. So you, as the medical staff, have to do your job and not rush them out there. Also, the owner and the coach's job, and the owner's paying them, is tied to that. So yes, they want him on the field because the coach don't want to put Teddy Bridgewater in there. He don't. If he did, he'd been starting. The owner's paying to it. So obviously, you got to look out for player safety. Player safety is number one. So definitely stock down the Miami Dolphins. And this ain't the first time. They've had a history of doing some shady, optics over there with the Dolphins.
Yeah, right, exactly. We can go back to Flores from last year, but go
not to cut you off, Mo. That Miami Dolphins situation reminded me. Did y'all see that documentary with Well, it was a TV show with Colin Kaepernick in the beginning. How they showed the athletes. He tried to kind of correlate them as being slaves, and you're just property to them. That's what I saw.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a great analogy, bro.
Yeah, that was a Netflix, little documentary show or something like I remember that. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is on that front. But we're gonna get into that. Just y'all stay tuned. We're gonna get into it. My stock up, Justin Jefferson, and salute the young king, man, because he playing with a game manager, but he putting up Hall of Fame stats. Like Kirk Cousins, it's not terrible, but he ain't good either. He's just average. But Justin Jefferson continues to put up above average numbers, and he continues to make some of the best defensive backs, or so-called best defensive backs, look very average at best. So shout out to him. Man, I'm kind of torn on this next one. I really don't want to give this guy any credit, but shout out to Saquon Barkley. His stock is way up. Yes. I think he got more rushing yards than half the teams in the league. So I got to give credit where credit is due. I just really don't like the Giants. I'm just being.
Would you pay him?
No, I wouldn't pay any running back. I mean, not in today's game.
You would trade him before the deadline.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. It just depends. Like right now, they 3-1. So I'm not gonna sacrifice, because when you trade players like that, right? Let's make it clear. Now everybody else who putting in work, who running, working out, you making them suffer, because the guy who coming in behind Saquon Barkley is not gonna be Saquon Barkley. So I wouldn't trade him to spite everybody else on the team. But as far as paying him, I can't, because the issue is running back shelf life. It has nothing to do with Saquon Barkley. Let's be clear. The problem is it's age dependent. You got to think, if Saquon Barkley is playing running back, and he's been playing running back all his life, think about how many hits his body has accumulated. So by the time it's time for him to get paid, and he 26, 27, or and that it's tough. He gonna wear down. Unless I'm gonna give him like a 2-3 year max deal for whatever the running back position is.
Probably make it guaranteed.
I can't do it. Like, I can't give him no more than 2-3 years, and it has nothing to do with him. All of them. It's Zeke. You look at Christian McCaffrey. You look at Alvin Kamara.
They got their money.
You looking at Cook. None of them look the same, and it has nothing to do with them individually. It's just physics. Like they're one of the one position that's getting hit every play. So that's all it is. And then my last stock up. Well, not my last. I got two more. So my second to last one is Cooper Rush. I have to give Cooper Rush his due. Again, if you're looking for a game manager, Washington Commanders, y'all better be backing up the Brinks truck to get Cooper Rush, because at least he can manage the game. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's okay.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we good, bro.
My man is a certified game manager.
Like, let him be a game manager for you guys. Y'all good. We good.
The Commanders ain't had a game manager in a while.
Since Kirk Cousins. I get that, bro, but we good.
But more, I would say this. You can't have you a game manager like Rush if your defense was as stout as Dallas
Thank
defense
you.
is.
That's a fact. That's where I'm going with that, Kobe.
But Washington defense being like it is, they need somebody that's a game changer at that
position.
Yeah.
Well, he's not out there slinging it, you know what I'm saying, 40, 50 times a game. You guys got a balanced attack, man.
It's a bad fit. But they got the D-line. They just got to go spend some money in the secondary. And you're right, Kobe. They got to spend some money on linebackers too. Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know. You're right. And I know. And then you know what? The last guy was hard on him. I've been hard on Lamar Jackson for the last couple years. I know the stats didn't bear out on Sunday, but I watched the game, and I'm gonna still go stock up Lamar Jackson. And the reason being is he played pretty well in adverse conditions with the no names. I still don't know his wide receivers outside of Mark Andrews. And so definitely stock up. He went toe-to-toe with Buffalo. It wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault they lost that game. It was his head coach decision. And we give John Harbaugh a lot of credit, or Jim Harbaugh, both of them. We give them a lot of credit. Both of them overrated to an extent because that was the dumbest head coaching decision in football. You take the points and you make your defense play defense.
Well, you know, I'm a big Lamar Jackson fan, and I'm now a Baltimore fan. And one, I would say kudos to Lamar Jackson, because even after week 4, the experts still have him as their leading candidate for MVP. You know, even with the loss last week. But me personally, I would have took the points. You never leave points on the table, but at the same time, I don't necessarily hate the call, but I hate the play call. They you know what I mean? They should have put him in shotgun so he can have more options, so he can see the field, use his legs if he needed to, pass if he needed to. But he came under center. As soon as he got the ball and stepped back to a 2-step drop, they was on his ass, and he was backpedaling. And he had to throw that last pass off his back foot. He couldn't even throw it to the receiver on time because he was under so much pressure. And that's why he ended up throwing the interception. But I thought the play call was bad, not so much the decision to go for it. But at the same time, you need to give points on the board and then rely on the defense that you pay those guys all that money for. Let them try to stop somebody and win the game for you.
Yeah, but the problem is they can't stop anybody, especially in the second half for some reason. They couldn't stop Miami in the second half, and they couldn't stop Buffalo in the second half. What is up with that?
I know, because all you can ask for offense is give you a 2-3 touchdown lead, which they've done the last 2 weeks, and the defense has let Baltimore down big time. But at some point, with Baltimore being a team that they think can make a lot of noise in the postseason, the defense is going to have to come around. They're going to have to generate some type of confidence. And I think that by putting the 3 points on the board and giving the defense an opportunity to get a stop and win the game would have really boosted their confidence going into week 5.
Yeah, hey, Big Time said, stock up Geno Smith. He is seizing the opportunity in Seattle.
He definitely is.
True story. That's a good one, fam, right there. You're absolutely right.
So Geno Smith is a case where I made this point last year. I don't believe rookies quarterbacks should start unless they're like some generational talent.
That's how it used to be.
Because the issue is, like, you look at Geno Smith, he just wasn't ready
at that time. Exactly. And then look what type. And he was with a organization that wasn't structured. You know what I'm saying? So you're right. No leadership, no nothing.
No running back.
Put a quarterback in that type of situation. And those are, those type of situations, it's going to be hard for him to succeed at the end of the day.
And then like they all product, like you got to think these are alpha males. They have an ego. There's an aura about them. There's confidence. When you get beat like that, your confidence is shaking. And in that position, you got to have a swagger about you. So but on that Baltimore game, so I look at a lot of Baltimore games too, because I can't be critical of Lamar Jackson. And it's not a critic on him. I just wanted the narrative to change. In order for it to change, there's a lot of things that have to change in this game, but he's making those changes. It's this: the secondary sucks in Baltimore. I'm just gonna call it what it is.
Marcus Peters. You talking about Marcus Peters and Humphreys?
Humphreys is okay, but Humphreys biting the cheese a lot of times. He's trying to get that in. Like they talk about Trayvon Diggs trying to bite the cheese. He's playing very undisciplined. And if you look at it right, him and Marcus Peters are not playing sound fundamental football.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in these second halves, when they got these leads, teams where they get the leads at, or teams are trying to play balance. Their run defense is pretty good up front. Their front seven is pretty stout. Mm-hmm. But when teams just go in that 2-minute offense, they're not playing discipline. They are not. They're too that one of their safeties is pretty good. Chuck Clark is pretty good when it's run support, but in pass coverage, he's average at best. Mm-hmm. So that's what Baltimore problem. They're gonna have to realign that secondary somehow, some way. And they're giving too many free releases to these wide receivers. They need to come up and play a little bit, press man a little bit more in Baltimore. But that's the issue with them. And then this is the other issue I had with the call, right? Mm-hmm. It was raining. It's wet. Nothing good's gonna come from that. Like, my thing is, make Josh Allen, make Stephon Diggs, make them drive and do whatever they got to do in that adverse weather, because Josh Allen was not a Josh Allen, and it was a byproduct of the weather. That field was horrible, And then they gotta get my boy Lamar Jackson the run game, man. Dang, it just feels bad. I feel so bad for him. Like, if he don't run the ball, I think they averaging like 2.2 yards a carry.
Facts.
It's bad, man.
And another thing, Mo, I think Lamar has been making a conscious effort of being a pocket passer this year. I mean, we've seen through 4 weeks, he's been more of a pocket quarterback than a running quarterback. And there was a point, I think it was in the fourth quarter of last week's game, where he had a wide open field to run for about a good 20, 25 yards, get a first down, keep the time running off the clock, and potentially get a touchdown. But he stood tall in the pocket, and then I think he ended up getting sacked or something like that. And they showed the replay, all that field he had. So I just want him to ignore all of the bullshit that he has to be this, and just play with your instinct. If you gotta run, if you gotta use your legs, use them. Yeah. And then in terms of what's Seattle's quarterback? Geno Smith.
No.
Best quote of the year. They tried to write me off, but I didn't write back.
There it is. That is. That's a bar right there, Geno. Yeah. Shout out to Geno Smith, man. He's playing good ball right now with Seattle, man. Right. Look here, guys. My stock up and stock down is very simple, and we can go ahead with the stock down. There's only one team, which is my team, is the Commanders. We can't get right at all. At this point, man, it's I don't even know if we cursed, man. We just cannot. It's like for every step that we take forward, we take 7 steps backwards. You know what I'm saying? Ron Rivera pretty much said, "Hey, man, year 3, we're gonna go ahead and step it up. We're gonna make this is our year. This is what we're gonna do." And I didn't believe it, because the fact of the matter is we didn't do anything in free agency. You know what I'm saying? You got $15 to $20 million in cap space. You got a porous offensive line, especially in the interior, and you didn't address that whatsoever. You pretty much bring in a bunch of former Carolina Panthers that played under your regime, and you know what I'm saying, just to try to fit this particular scheme, which they just do. They just don't. I mean, they get dominated up front. The quarterback holds on to the ball too long. Even when he does get time, he does not climb up the pocket. You know what I'm saying? There's several times where he ran outside of the pocket. There's no pocket presence with Wentz at this point. You know what I'm saying? And something that I noticed, Mo, and Cobra, Dallas had a 8-9 man front on a lot of different on a lot of occasions. Mm-hmm. He couldn't even audible out of what what was called. So I don't even know if he had permission to call any audibles or what. I'm like, yo, they got 8-9 men in the box. All you said, you got single coverage right there. Yeah. That's telling you got Terry McLaurin, you got Samuels out there, and you can't. I mean, you couldn't audible out what you was doing. So then it makes me look at the offensive coordinator. What are you? I'm not understanding. What are you game planning for the week? You know that Dallas is an aggressive defense. I don't understand. We started off the game running the ball effectively against Dallas. We got away from it. You don't set up nothing where you run boots. You know what I'm saying? Run them outside the pocket or something like that, if you got a porous offensive line, I just don't get what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. And then defensively, I mean, we played pretty good defensively, with the exception of, like I said, William Jackson and Kyle Glasshead, Kendall Glasshead, Fuller. They can't cover.
No.
Benjamin St-Juste is your best cornerback, and you're playing him in the slot. You need to put him outside. I don't give a damn how much you're playing Fuller or Jackson. I don't care how much money they're making. If you're not producing week in and week out, your ass needs to sit on the bench. You need to do something. I'm sorry. Bottom line, the objective is to win every week. And you're not winning with these two. Or you got him in, or especially you got Kendall Fuller in the wrong position. You need to play slot, and you need to put Benjamin St-Juste, on the outside.
Hey, so Fred, not to cut y'all, but you know what killed y'all in the run game was the penalties.
Yeah.
So whenever y'all had a good one, they had the series rolling.
Two intentional,
And then the running back would, not the running back, one of the offensive linemen would hold or something would happen, and then that puts y'all in first and long, second and long. And then they can't run the ball. So Washington was the best defense as far as stopping the run game.
We have no identity, Mo. We have no identity. We do not know who we are. And Ron Rivera goes up there, like I said, in the press conference and spills all this stuff and all these quotes. And I'm like, no, it's your fault. At the end of the day, you the one that bought the groceries. You the one that you the one that got these players. It's nobody's fault but yours. That's why I hate coaches that are GMs. I'm sorry, man. Need to stick to.
You know what? That's y'all fault, man. I told y'all year one when y'all made the playoffs because Dak was hurt, right? And Philly didn't really have a quarterback because they had your quarterback. That Ron Rivera was giving y'all a bill of goods because he didn't have none of those players on that team outside of the number one pick. I think it was Chase Young that year, right? Was his guys, really. They were the other coaches' guys. They were Gruden guys. Not only that, Ron Rivera didn't have a winning record that year. And everybody got all hyped up. I was like, man, he didn't have a winning season.
Yeah, but Mo, I get that. We wasn't picked to do. You got to understand something. We wasn't picked to do anything. And you're right. The quarterbacks that we played against wasn't, there wasn't high-powered quarterbacks that we played against that year. But at the end of the day, what we talked about before we came on, bro, you play who's in front of you at the end of the day, right?
Right. With a caveat, though, that you understand that. So you can't crown somebody.
And you're absolutely right. You said it. He sold us a bill of goods. Well, he sold them a bill of goods because I didn't believe the shit from the start. I know what we are actually, let me take that back, bro. I can't say he sold us a bill of goods because the Washington Commanders or Washington Redskins fan base ain't stupid. Yeah. We're not stupid. We are a pretty smart fans base. We know what's what. So you can't run too much game on us at the end of the day. We knew that we wasn't that good. The key is you build on that at the end of the day. Don't come in there making promises. If you got a 5-year plan, say it's a 5-year plan. Don't make that 5-year plan and try to condense it and to make it into a 3-year plan. That's just what it is, man. But we're bad. We got a bunch of Lamborghinis on the outside and McLaurin, you know what I'm saying, and Dotson and Samuels, but we can't even get them the damn ball. The quarterback drops back. He can't even get them the damn ball because the interior is bad. Yeah, and when he does get time, he still can't get him the ball because he doesn't have any pocket presence. And I'm like, you the one that traded for somebody that you gave all these draft picks to, to the Indianapolis Colts when they were going to release him. I would have just, if you was going to do that, you should have just ran it back for what you had last year. If you was going to do all that.
You would have been better off with
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you would have been better off with Heineke. Yeah.
Say what?
Yeah,
you would have been better off with Heineke.
But I understand. Look, I understand. That Heineke can't get the ball downfield the way we want to. But at least he was innovative and he can create. He's got a lot of moxie. He can get outside the pocket. You know what I'm saying? He can improvise. But Wentz, it looks like he's done to me, man. I'm like,
but you know what? Carson Wentz is a story of NFL GMs outsmarting themselves. Can we stop drafting these damn quarterbacks from North Dakota State? Like they're not playing anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, when's the last time a quarterback from North Dakota State had turned into a Hall of Famer? I don't think it's ever been done, and it will not. Most of your quarterbacks come from Power 5 schools, and it has to do with the competition they're seeing. Week in and week out. Whether I'm not a big fan of Tua, but you cannot argue that his gauntlet that he had to go through every year. You look at a guy like Trevor Lawrence, especially, and Tua wasn't a number 1 pick or number 2 pick.
Right.
So let's be clear. But when you talking about a number 1 or number 2 pick, I need to see them play somebody. Yeah. You understand what I mean? I need to see that they felt pressure. Are they a Trevor Lawrence? Did they play against the best of the best? So Carson Wentz needs to be the last one that we take from these schools. And then too, with a quarterback, the one intangible that nobody talks about when we talk about, oh, look at the arm string. Look how accurate he is. Yeah, you need that, but you also need to be a leader. And you gotta be a leader. You gotta inspire men. And that's the problem with guys like Carson Wentz, RG3. You know what I mean? They were me guys.
Well,
all about me.
And I'm gonna make this point, and then we can go ahead and do a deep dive in our next segment, man. Me personally, bro, I like Ron Rivera as a person. I really do. I know he persevered a lot, overcoming cancer. I think the game has passed him by. It's too much old school. And I'm not, bro, you're not looking what's going on in front of you in terms of the way of the world, in terms of the NFL, the way it is right now. And it just seems like it's past him from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint. And I just, your team's supposed to, don't your team supposed to mirror your coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever that is, I don't see it at this
point. They do.
I think they do.
That's
the problem.
They do.
It's just nonchalant. It's
nonchalant
at the end of the day.
They need to bring the replacement backs. I think Keanu Reeves a free agent.
Real talk, fellas. The problem is if you a coach, right? Every coach starts out on the side of the ball. If that side of the ball can't represent that coach, then they don't need to be there.
There it is.
That's the problem with him. You look at it, right? I know we got to move on, but last year Landon Collins held down that sub linebacker position. It was scary. They didn't bring him back.
They did. Let me tell you what they did, Mo. So he restructured his contract in the offseason. The first time they trade for Carson Wentz, they come back to him to try to get him to restructure it again. And he was like, man, hell no, I just restructured with you guys. Why I'm going to restructure it again? You know what I'm saying? Are you serious? Yeah. It is what it is at the end of the day. Hey, welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and combos collide. Hey, guys. We know, obviously we couldn't talk about what transpired last week because what that game happened on Thursday. Then we had Greg Jones on for an interview. Shout out to Greg Jones. Hey, man, let's talk about the NFL current concussion protocols in terms of, I know they're currently working with the NFL PA, Players Association, to try to revise it, what have you. I'm just trying to figure out what can you do to revise it because that situation that happened with Tua. And look here, I like to think that, we ain't stupid. We saw what happened to Tua when they played against Buffalo. That didn't look like a back injury to me. That looked like a damn concussion. So I don't know. Trust me, it's me. I've had 2 of them in my lifetime. That was a concussion. So back injury, I don't know how they got through that with that, but it is what it is. I guess the consultant is fired now from what I heard. Yeah. And then you look at what transpired in Thursday's game against Cincinnati, where he was concussed again. Hey, man, just give me your thoughts in terms of, the NFL current protocols and what can they do to revise it? Just give me your spiel, fellas.
Well, yeah, you're right, Fred. So the NFL and the NFLPA is trying to revise the protocol, and I know they're trying to eliminate that loophole where a player can have gross motor instability caused by a non-head injury and return to the game. But we need to protect the players better. I mean, all the way around. I mean, just like you said, Fred, when Tua hit his head on the grass on the turf, and he got up and he didn't know where the hell he was at.
No,
you know what I mean. He stumbled. He couldn't stand up on his own too. I mean, I don't care if it wasn't a head injury. Once you see something like that, they shouldn't play. Simple as that. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a doctor you don't have to be an NFL football player to know that that man is not right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I just think it needed to be a better job all the way around. Even, even from his teammates on up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody should have been like, no, this man is not going back in the game, because at the end of the day, yeah, he came back in, played decent, and they won the game. But you talking about a human being here. You talking about a human life. Like, we may not see the effects of that head blow today, next week, or next year, but when that man's 35 years old, when that man's 40, you know, what is the effects of that head blow going to have on him and his family?
Right.
You know, so whatever the protocols that they put in place, it definitely has to take out the element of the player being able to make their own decision, cheating a concussion test, or telling their coach that they're good. It needs to take the coach out of it that's being competitive and trying to win the game and don't give a damn if his player hurt or not. You know, delete all of those elements and just have something in place. Like, if this happened, he's done, period. There's no discussing. It's not no test that's going to determine whether he's coming back in or not. Get him out of there. We'll reevaluate him during the week.
Right.
And then we'll make a decision then. So, yeah, I mean, they got to protect the players. Simple as that.
What you got, Mo?
I don't think we have an NFL rule problem as much as we have a Miami Dolphin problem. And it brings me to players, man, taking the bag with these bad organizations. It's certain organizations in certain sports that have never cared about the players. And the Miami Dolphins is one of those organizations. They've never cared about the players. They've always consistently had issues with player safety in the past. So players continue to go there. I know the weather's good. The weather good in other places too. Other states is tax-free too. Go play. That's the only way some of these organizations are going to change the way that they operate and the way that they view you as not a commodity but a partner. Because let's be clear, nobody's watching the Miami Dolphins if the replacement players is out there. So players understand what you have, and hold on to that with that player empowerment. Don't get crazy like the NBA, but understand what you leverage. So that's first and foremost. The second part of the question, when we talk about player safety, let me be clear. I don't advocate for any player like sitting out if they're healthy. But you got to understand, this bag that y'all getting, this a long-term bag. And every time you put yourself out there when you injured, not hurt, you shortening your bag because they're going to replace you with the next Tua. So Tua, if you feeling like you're not right and it's your head, sit on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? Because you just have to. You can't read the game if you're a quarterback and you're concussed. Mm-hmm. And then last but not least, the guy that got fired should have been fired. And not only that, they need to take it a step further.
That was a cover.
They need to take his license. Because if that's his job, his job, whether it's a cover-up or not, at the end of the day.
He's a fall guy, Mo. He was a fall guy.
Well, I wouldn't have been the fall guy. Hey, y'all have had me on CNN. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't going to blame me. If I said he wasn't supposed to go in there, I'd have been everywhere. Yeah. Like, nope, my recommendation was that he didn't go back in the game. But I haven't heard a rebuttal, so I got to take it for what it is. And you can't, as a medical profession, fall to the pressures of the people that you work independently with. If the coach is saying something and the owner's saying something, you know your owner don't sign his checks. I'd have told the owner, go sit down. We good. I'm here to help you. So it was failure on all their parts, you know. And again, I need Tyreek Hill to watch that. I need Jalen Waddle to watch that. Right. Because I'm telling you, it's going to happen again. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, to answer your question directly, I don't think the NFL has a problem. This is, to my knowledge, I could be wrong. This hasn't been a recurring problem within the league that I'm aware of, especially at the quarterback position. Now, when you start talking about offensive linemen, you start talking about defensive linemen, linebackers, positions that I'm not saying that you don't have to be as smart, but you won't be able to tell as much at those positions. But at the key quarterback position, This is the only case that I'm aware of since the rules have changed.
Yeah, and you know what, Mo? I think a big problem is the medical staff of the teams and upper management. There's a lot of folks up there that has a bent moral compass. You know, so they're
because
not.
They have to appease the organization.
Yep. So they're not in it to protect players. And another thing that needs to be changed is some type of language in the contracts because of the way the players get paid in football, where you don't have a lot of guaranteed money, and the contracts is baked in with a lot of incentives. So players are forcing their way back on the field so they can get their bread. So it needs to be some language baked into those contracts where these players aren't losing money in situations like Tua, that if they played or if they got a certain amount of yards in this game, then they would have got their bonus for the week or for the year and all that stuff. So something needs to change with that. And the last point I'm going to make with that, when I saw that, this is the first thing I thought about was my guy Lamar Jackson. That's why his ass shouldn't have played this season for shit like that.
Yep. We talked about it.
We talked about that.
We talked about it, man. Like that. I'm telling you right now, and I ain't gonna be careful what I say. That damn franchise tag is some slave shit.
So it is.
You know what I mean? Because you're pretty much shortening a guy's window. And I'm telling y'all players, if nobody else telling y'all, listen to Uncle Bo, man. Your window as a football player is very, very short. And so every year they stunt your capitalistic growth. That's not good. And I've been telling Kobe this for a while. Like, man, and I said it 2 years ago. Fred and Jay Will thought I was crazy. I was like, look, this is what they're gonna do with Lamar Jackson. They're gonna come up with a bunch of bullshit. They might not play some players. They're gonna put the franchise tag on it 1 year. They're gonna say something else. Oh, he didn't run enough. Here's another franchise tag. They got 2 years of less than market, like peak market value. I think it's right at market value, but that's not peak. That's not Lamar Jackson's market value. And I said that. So if I'm Lamar Jackson, I don't get my deal in this damn July. I'm telling the Baltimore Ravens, thank you for everything that you've done for me. But if you ain't gonna trade me, I'm not playing here next year. Y'all didn't give me any weapons.
Facts.
The draft was just had. You didn't draft a running back that was in the top 3 rounds. All these damn receivers in the NFL. CD Lamb, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown just changed teams. You ain't try to get any of them? Shit, DeAndre Hopkins was was traded a couple years ago. You gotta watch the narrative around you, man. Love is a 4-letter word that I can tell you, but if I show it to you, now I have compassion. True. That's that. I don't want you to just tell me about. I want you to show me. And these players gotta wise up, man. They have to. Facts. So shout out to Deshaun Watson, and not the sexual assault allegation stuff. I ain't getting into that. I'm talking about how he handled his business. He got up out of Houston because they was not surrounding him with talent.
They got $230 million guaranteed. That's right. Win, lose, or draw. Hey, to all our viewers and listeners out there, hey, do not forget to subscribe to the No Cap Sports Show podcast. Make sure you like the page, share it, and hit that notification bell so you can receive all upcoming notifications. Okay, guys, we got a little bit of time left. Hey, look here, man. I want to do a deep dive, right, in terms of old sports media versus new sports media. Thank you, Mo. You hooked your boy up today, man. I couldn't phrase that the way I wanted to. Mom, you always come through at the last second, bro. Clutch player. Obviously, there was a situation that we couldn't touch on it last week because, like, again, we had special guests on last week. Shout out to G Jones with the like I said, the Malika Andrews situation versus Stephen A. Smith, right? Where Stephen A. Smith was basically, where we was talking about Ime Udoka and the reason why he was suspended for the Boston Celtics for allegedly or what is called consensual sexual relationship with a team employee. Okay, and and then like I said, I saw Stephen A. Smith. He, like I said, he was saying, hey, he should have been fired. If you was going to fire him, you fire him. You know what I'm saying? But if you're going to keep him, hey, you worked that behind the scenes and stuff like that. You don't put that out there. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's a personal situation. And then not only that, the woman that he alleged had consensual sex with, there was no punishment for her. So when Malika Andrews was on the First Take show or what have you, she just spent the whole entire narrative basically just, saying that we don't have all the evidence and stuff like that, and basically saying Stephen A was wrong or whatever, which, I don't normally agree a lot of things what Stephen A says, but in this point, this particular situation, I totally agree with him. He didn't say anything wrong, man. So it made me think, like, okay, in terms of like these media pundits, do they have a responsibility at the end of the day, or any type of accountability, or or they're trying to create some type of narrative, because then I looked at, because it had me looking at her the wrong way, and I didn't want to do that, because then I had to go back because she had Big Perk on her show, which is the NBA, I think NBA Today. And Perk said, basically said, I know exactly what happened in Boston, being as though he used to play for Boston. And she basically just cut him off and was like, you don't have enough evidence. He's like, yes, I know what happened. So it just made me think, it's like, okay, then we had the situation with Brett Favre, allegedly stealing $5 million worth of welfare money in Mississippi, for his daughter's volleyball gymnasium or something like that, or volleyball court or whatever. And then the Robert Sarver situation in Phoenix with the the racial comments and stuff like that, and sensitivities, and the media just didn't highlight those at all. But when it came to this situation with a black man, it was just highlighted. It was all over the place, and it was just like extreme and overboard. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Does the media have a responsibility or any type of accountability at the end of the day, or what?
I mean, I think they do. I think that they should at least give everybody a fair play in the matter, and get their facts, and not get caught in with the cancel culture train, because I think that's what they do. Know, in the cancel culture, it's like you accuse somebody of something, you go from 0 to 100 without having facts. Without giving the person a chance to explain what happened and stuff like that. So I think the media has got caught up in that hype, and I think that you can't dismiss the fact that race probably does play a huge factor in the narrative that they create when they talking about these folks. I mean, you're talking about Udoka having a consensual sexual relationship with somebody that's within the organization. Okay, I get it. It was a policy, a rule that he broke. Okay, disciplinary action is warranted for that. But at the same time, we didn't need to know about what exactly he did. We didn't need them to air out all of the dirty laundry. All they had to do is make one statement: Udoka broke a team policy, and he'll be placed on suspension. That's the only only thing we needed to know. But with Udoka, I don't think it was a matter of what he did. It was who he did it with. So you hear a lot of rumors that one of the ladies that he was having a consensual sexual relationship with was the wife of one of the minority owners. So soon as that came out, of course, what you think the organization going to do? They're going to expose him. They're going to drag his name through the mud, make him look bad. Another brother in a position of power, that can't lead an organization because he got so much other stuff going on behind the scenes, and it's just not right. If it was Brad Stevens that got caught up in the mix like that, you think we would have had the same type of narrative, or it would have been a big story?
Not at all.
Exactly. So that's That's
okay. But let me jump in right quick, Kobe. Okay. Mm-hmm. But what is the media's responsibility in this? Because like I said, I really like Malika Andrews, but she just totally went left. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Do you have an agenda at the end of the day?
That's what I was about to say. They absolutely have an agenda. You know what I mean? Yeah. Malika Andrews, her agenda is women empowerment, making sure that women are displayed in a certain light. And every time she's going to go on that side, and she's going to bash the male, whether he was right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just how it is. And a lot of them, they all have their own agendas when they're talking, when they're on these platforms and talking about stuff that happens, such as Udoka. And with the consensual sexual relationship thing, like the rules are so inconsistent if you look at the organizations across the league. Like some teams in the NBA don't even have that rule where you can't participate in consensual sexual relationship with staff members. They just don't have that rule. You see it all the time. Shit, if you look at the Miami Heat, down Spoelstra married a damn dancing girl. His wife was on the dance team with the Heat. So I mean, they try to make this one little thing so big, like he did the worst thing in the world.
That's what
Eric Spoelstra was a video guy. He liked what he saw on video. You know what I mean? Hey, I can't fault him for that. He was a scout guy. He liked what he saw on video.
There it is, right?
And Matt Barnes said it best. He said he played for 8 different NBA teams. This happened on every single team from the training staff all the way up to the CEO. This goes on in every organization. They try to make it seem like this was the first time something like this ever happened. Yeah. Like Udoka is the first person that had a sexual relationship with a staff member, and he's the worst guy in the world.
And here you got Brett Favre stealing from the poorest state in the United States. But that's not a hot topic. You got you know what I'm saying? You got an owner with the Phoenix Suns, you know what I'm saying, that made all these racial, you know what I'm saying, comments and stuff like that was warned more than 3 times and kept on going. But you don't highlight stuff like that. Where are you at with that, Malika? You know what I'm saying? Where is that at, Malika? That's the problem that I have. Women empower. I'm all for women empowerment all day long. Right. But look here, man. If it looked like a rat, it ain't a goddamn mongoose at the end of the damn day. And that's what I'm not understanding. And if you don't have enough information, then damn it, don't speak on it.
So absolutely, you can even point at. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mo, but you can point at Malika's Andrew take on what's the young fella name that passed away that played at Michigan State with Draymond Green.
Sure did. Payne.
Yeah,
Payne. Sure did.
And instead of her just reporting that this ex-NBA player passed away, let's pray for him and his family. What she do? She brought up an allegation that was proven to be false back in 2008 or something like that.
Yes, I saw that
about him allegedly having some type of sexual assault with a female. What was the purpose of her bringing that up? That had nothing to do with him passing away. But
Jason Johnson says because he's black, successful. He took the Celtics to a chip. Anytime a black person is successful, they always try and tear us down.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share a secret with y'all, man.
Go ahead, bro.
Unless Fred or one of y'all text me and say, "Look, this is what they said on TV." Every now and then, I might watch a clip of Stephen A. or Skip and Shannon. Shout out to Shannon. I don't really watch any of that bullshit.
Right.
And I know that might compromise our bottom line, but I'm not finna sing and dance and get no fucking check.
Right.
The bottom line is all these media outlets have agendas. Every last one of them. If they didn't, they wouldn't have meetings about driving, and it's marketing and it's business. That's why new media is here, because we don't have agendas. We don't get together on here. We have topics, but we don't say, well, shit, Kobe, I want you to talk about the perspective of an ex-athlete in Greece and just talk about that shit. And then, Fred, I want you to talk about this. And no, we say what the fuck we want to say.
And what you see is what you get.
Everybody has an agenda. I stopped watching really because I'm a Cowboys fan. Even I don't want to hear about the damn Cowboys on every national outlet. Like everything that Jerry Jones says, these motherfuckers reporting it. He's saying that because he wants you to report it. Mm-hmm. That's the issue right there. And as far as what the race aspect of it, come on now. We've all been black in America.
Tamala Anderson says all control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, true story. Absolutely. True story, huh? True
absolutely.
story.
So we all know there's always racial undertones in anything. So
what do you go back? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
One quick point though. And this is why I'm so hard on Lamar Jackson. So he don't fall into the trap of the racial undertones. Athletic quarterback fails to read a defense. You know, nobody talk about the lack of fucking weapons around him. That's why I said, get your ass in the pocket, read that defense, and do what you do. Talent be damned, because if you don't, that's going to be the narrative. And then, oh, by the way, he has to watch how he conducts his business, because then they'll say he's about himself. He's not about the team. So these are all narrative that we have to be cognizant of. And then what was your question? Because I get on Udoka in a second.
No, you go ahead, bro. You flow.
The only issue I have with Udoka, right, is you know who you are, where you are, and where you stand. Fact. A consensual relationship between two adults, it is what it is. However, you can have any woman in the world, but you already know what time it is. You're an African American in this organization, one of few black head coaches. Leave the goddamn owner wives alone. They ain't my business. You know what I'm saying? Just leave the boss's wife alone, because you already know what's gonna come out of that. We done seen this movie. That would be my only issue with it. Sometimes we put ourselves in a position to get talked about and to get vilified. Right. So once you done served it up on a platter, and that's allegedly, it ain't out there, you did it to yourself. You understand what I mean? Because you know what's gonna come out of that. They're gonna drag you through the mud. That's what it's gonna be. You gave it to the media. Right. You understand what I mean? Now, as far as the firing and I'm not getting into all that shit with Neil Long and this.
Yeah, that ain't my business. That's something we don't do here. Right.
But I do know this. If you fuck around and put yourself in that kind of predicament, this is what's gonna happen to you.
True
every
story.
Single time.
So look here, man. And then the assistant coach is with Joe Mazzulla, former West Virginia basketball player. So he's going to be taking over. Right? He's going to be taking over for MA. Mm-hmm. So Malika goes in and saying, yeah, you know where I'm going, Mo. Saying, yes, he's going to be, you know what I'm saying, Joe Mazzulla will be taking over. Yes, and he had an incident back in West Virginia in 2007, 2000. Don't quote me. But she's bringing all this stuff about him. I'm like, Slim, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing, man? Happened, whatever transpired with him, that happened years ago. He's been one of their assistants since 2019. Why the fuck are you bringing this shit up?
Mm-hmm. I'd have sued the shit out of Malika.
I'm like,
that cut a lot of that shit out right there. You want to play the media game? We're gonna play this lawsuit game. Because you slandered.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this, because it made me think. I'm like, okay. And I wish Mills Lane was on here, being as though she used to work for ESPN. Do these producers tell them what to say, or do they have, do they have a voice of their? I'm not understanding that. Are they control, like Tammy eloquently said? You know what I'm saying? Control. So are they controlled by their producers in terms of, hey, say this to sensationalize it or what have you?
Like Kobe already said, they got roles on the team. It's a team, right? If you look at the way that the panel is organized, it's a team. Each one of them have a role. You got your spot up guy, you got your 3-point shooter, and you got your defensive specialist. They're going to all stick to their role. Man, and sometimes the shit don't fit. That's why I get awkward on there. And in Malika's case, she should have looked at that script and said, man, I ain't fucking with this one, because if people get to call out shit from my closet, the skeletons I might have, it might not be good. Because that's what they forget about when they on TV, right? Yeah. Like, they was humans. She went to college, a good, bad, and indifferent. I'm pretty sure some shit she don't want to get out. You know what I'm saying? So don't. And that was unprompted. Nobody asked about Joe's past. Nobody give a fuck about what Joe did 12 years ago. if it was that bad, the Celtics wouldn't hire him now, especially with the negative light, and that's my problem too. It hit home because I really feel like Mark Jackson is getting blackballed by the league.
Oh my God,
he is blackballed.
100%.
It hurts, and it's because of the media's narrative, like what they keep spewing out there. But I keep seeing other coaches get
retread after retread.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either, bro. I don't get it. It is, man. That was a great point more about Mark Jackson, man. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, but Steve Nash still got a job.
Exactly. But like Mo said, I mean, you talk about platforms like ESPN is a big production, and everybody have their part to play. Yeah. And Malika Andrews is a tool that they're using to deliver a message. Because what they want to do, that's what they're doing. They sending out a message and saying, look, you can have this position of power. You can be a head coach in a professional league, but you have to act accordingly. Mm-hmm. And that's the message that they're trying to send. Look, we'll let you run, but as soon as you do something that cross that line that we don't like, we're gonna drag your name in the mud. You talking about Marcus. You talking about this the executives and the CEO of Disney who runs ESPN? Who you think they have lunch with or go play golf with? The owners of these professional teams. Yeah. So they talking like, look, man, I need you to do this for me. Run this dude's name in the mud because he crossed the line. He didn't know his place. And then Mo brought up Mark Jackson. What about Jason Kidd? He's trying to get a head coaching job. Next thing you know, they talking about, we're not going to hire him. He had a DUI 20 years ago.
Or domestic violence.
Yeah, domestic violence and all that. Come on, man. What the hell, man? It was 20 years ago. This man has been on the bench for an NBA professional team for years. Now he want a head coaching job. You want to run his name through the mud? That's just what they do.
And I'll take it a step further, Kobe. Why do you think we analyze LeBron game so much? And every day, he dribbled with his right hand 20 times a game because they can't assassinate his character. You understand what I mean? So now we got to start sacrificing parts in his game, and it's gonna get into our GOAT debate, which again, this is a little spoiler alert. So y'all got to tune in next week when we talk about this GOAT debate. However, when you start looking at the GOAT debate, it's really just media driven. Because what it starts us to doing as fans is we start picking apart the great players in that particular era, and then we start comparing them to ghosts. There is no damn way that LeBron James can ever beat the ghost of Michael Jordan. Because if you were in that era, you're going to feel a certain type of way. You're tied to that intrinsically because you saw it at a certain point in time, no matter what he does. So what the media does now is they drum up these arbitrary debates, and then they assassinate parts in this game. And I'm gonna take it one step further, right? It's a guy by the name of Luka Doncic, and I'm gonna bring race into this. He's a white guy, pretty good. He's not as good as Kevin Durant. He's not as good as Giannis. But whenever you hear his name brought up, they try to put him on that pedestal. Is he good? No doubt about it. But he's not there yet. But they're forcing it. The same thing with Jokic. Jokic and Embiid, they both was fat, but they ain't called Jokic out. They called Embiid out for being out of shape, a malcontent. He wasn't good enough. So these are all narratives that I saw a long time ago. Where it really killed me, I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. I got him on the wall. Man, they drug my boy through the mud when he was living. And then that same media, when it was time for him to retire, they tried to put him on a pedestal. I'm not going for that bullshit anymore. You know what I mean? Because people forget about that. Yeah. When he was living, Kobe could do no right. Everything was wrong. He was hard to get along with. He was a ball hog. All of these different things. And then all of a sudden he got to a point where he wasn't winning anymore. And they were like, oh man, Kobe's great. Great. He should be up there with Michael Jordan. Greatest of all time. Same AI too. AI is another person I looked up to growing up. The whole time he was playing, he's a thug. He doesn't understand the game of basketball. All he does is score. He's not a winner. AI retired, man, the greatest athlete in Philadelphia history. So these are narratives that the media has painted over the years.
That's why I somewhat understand with these athletes, especially these NBA players now talking about, hey, you know what, they're going to control their own narrative, and they call it the new media. And I salute that, man, because this shit that they're doing right now, man, is freaking malpractice. I'm like, yo, this is you don't have to do that, man. No. If the turn tells you to make a right, you don't need to make a left. I'm not understanding that. This is where it is. And if you don't have all the information, then say you don't have all the information, or you'll make a comment once you get gather all the information. But it is what it is, man.
Man, I'm gonna tell you my last point on that media shit, man. And I done told you this 1,000 times, Fred. I'll tell the audience now. I don't have a theory on Jerry Jones. I have a person with knowledge about Jerry Jones, and he's starting to let y'all see it now. Jerry Jones has been playing the media for years. What he does is he will say the most outlandish shit at times when he know there should be pressure on his players.
Right.
So instead of us talking about Cooper Rush being 24 for 36 and almost throwing 3 picks, we talking about some shit that Jerry Jones said in the media that we might have a quarterback controversy. This man just gave Dak Prescott $60 million. You think he gonna let that shit walk? That's an investment. But the media is talking about what he said and not the play on the field. So he's taking all the pressure off his players. He put it on his billionaire shoulders, and now y'all eating it up. Not only that, sensationalism sells. Jerry figured it out. That's why he's got the richest franchise in sports.
You're right. Yeah. You're right, man. Yeah, great point, fellas. All right, you know it's that time. Well, first of all, hey, welcome to the No Cap Sports Show podcast where sports and combos collide. Well, it's that time of the podcast, man, where we go ahead and do our NFL standings, and it just doesn't look too good for me, man, right at this point, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that up right quick because it's just not looking good, man.
And I took a week off.
Yeah, you took the week off and you looking good. This don't make any sense right here. So yeah, we got Kobe up. You know what I'm saying? We got Kobe in the lead.
Look at your boy.
Look at that, man. Yeah, Mills Lane is ahead of me. Well, no, we're tied, but it's not looking good. Jay Will got 25, man. So it is what it is, man. Mo, how come you wasn't even here last week and you know what I'm saying, you're in second place?
Man, I'm trying to tell you, man. No, hey, Nostradamus, man.
You said Nostradamus, huh?
Yeah,
all right, man. Let's go ahead and get through these picks, man. I'm about to pull it up right now. You already know what time it is, guys. Let's go. Game 1. Colts versus Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos.
Going with the Colts. I'm in first place. Don't look at me like that, bro.
Damn, bro. Packers, man.
Packers.
I'm going with the Packers.
My NFC team, Packers.
What you got, Mo?
Packers. I said Packers.
Right. Okay, game 3. Bears versus the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings.
Vikings.
Okay, gotcha. Game 4, Titans versus the Commanders. I got no knowledge.
Titans.
TC Titans.
Commanders. All right, game 5, Texans versus the Jaguars. I'm going with the Jaguars, man. They got something going on there.
Jaguars.
Yeah, shout out to Trevor Lawrence, man. All right, game 6, we got the Seattle Seahawks versus the Spence. I'm going with Seahawks.
I'm gonna go with the Saints.
Give me the Saints.
Yeah, y'all keep messing with them Saints. Falcons versus the Buccaneers, man. I'm going with the Falcons.
Damn, I need to see the injury report. Is anybody gonna play for the Bucs? Give me the Bucs.
I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay.
You going with Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
All right. Game 8, Dolphins versus the Jets. I'm going with the Jets, man.
Oh shit. Give me the Dolphins.
Man, I'll take that back. I'm going with the Dolphins. My bad, the Dolphins.
I'm gonna go with the Jets.
Bills
versus the Bills.
Bills.
They're in trouble.
They might get that boy killed out there, man.
Kenny Pickett. Game 10, Lions versus the Patriots. The Lions, man, for the upset.
Give me the Patriots. Give me the Patriots. It's on the road. Give me the Patriots.
All right, bet. Game 11, Chargers versus the Browns. Going with the Chargers.
Give me the Browns.
Okay. We'll see about that. All right, game 12, 49ers versus the Panthers. I'm going with 49ers, man. 49ers are strong. Yeah, man. All right, game 13, Eagles versus the Cardinals.
Eagles.
Give me the Cardinals.
I like it though. Good pick.
Okay. Game 14, Cowboys versus the Rams.
Give me the Rams.
Cowboys in the upset.
Give me the Rams. Yeah, home. Give me the Rams.
Give me that team in Texas.
Game 15, Eagles versus the Ravens. Going with the Ravens. Nevermore.
Give me the Ravens. Yeah.
All right, and last Monday night, the Raiders versus the Chiefs. The Raiders. No, I'm going with the Chiefs.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs. The Raiders secondary suck too.
You said the Raiders secondary sucks.
It's horrible.
Yeah. Okay. So look at, man, before we go ahead and end the show, man, I want to shout out Ezra Worley, man. Ezra Worley will be inducted to the T.C. Williams / Alexandria City High School Hall of Fame this weekend. So yeah, man, shout out. Also, go ahead, Kobe, tell them.
Let me shout out my pops, Cole Turner, who's also
inducted
to the TC Hall of Fame.
There it is. Absolutely. So yeah, you'll be. So I'll see you on Saturday, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I ain't like that, Pops. I'm gonna be there remotely. All right. So that's what's up, man. Yeah. So shout out to those. And also, I think Noah Lyles, the track superstar right now. Like I say, he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame as well, man. Absolutely. So to all our viewers and listeners out there, man, look at, we appreciate you vibing with us tonight. We'll catch you same time, same station, same everything next week. Also, in terms of this particular podcast, you can catch this podcast on Apple and Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts at. With that being said, good night and God bless.